Rob Seco, Future Farm. Today's innovations, tomorrow's solutions.
Welcome back to Future Farm. Today is time for our mid-season check-in on how some of our planter box solutions are working out. You know, Todd, we've had a couple of planter box solutions that we've used. You know, TuneUp Plus is the big one that we've talked about in our last couple of episodes. But tell us a little bit about what we've been seeing.
What we saw from the beginning, you know, we're looking at this planter box treatment for a couple things: establishment and uniformity. We think the first 20 to 25 days is terribly important in the crop's life, and what we're seeing to date, 43 locations in 9 states, we're seeing the planter box treatment TuneUp Plus with Ether technology showing right at 2,000 more plants per acre, and we're getting greater uniformity at the same time.
So you went out and dug a couple of plants based on some flag studies that you had done to look at, you know, first day of emergence, second, third, fourth, and we have an example of that here. Can you walk us through what we're seeing? Yeah,
it's a great example. This was an early planting date, and this has been in the ground 68 days today, and that's our first emerged plants. That would be day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. Now, the big difference in yield, the harvestable ears, day 1 versus day 3, a 2-day separation, is a penalty of about 100 kernels on an ear. Well, an ear will put on 600 to 610. Think about that. That's 80% of an ear. So that's an extreme difference. And then when you separate by 4 days, that's 225 to 250 kernels. Now that's 60% of an ear.
Yes. So, you know, that's a big difference in terms of what we'll see in yield at the end of the year. But, you know, when you don't even have to really count kernels to look at this plant here is compared to especially day 4.
Yes.
That day 4 emerged plant, that becomes a weed at the end of the year, and more or less. I mean, what kind of ear can that put on?
Yeah, and it will be terribly competed out. That plant will out sun, out eat, out drink this plant. How long? The rest of its life. And if you look at the plant, if you pull number 1 out, you'll see that number 1 has a great set of brace roots already starting. So we see the 7th node, the first node above the ground, and 4 days later doesn't have a nodal root system or a crown root system coming out yet. So which one's going to be more robust? Which one's going to have greater ability to reach for water? What's going to have better standability later?
This plant.
The uniformity of emergence.
Yeah. Now that we have these bigger, more robust, uniform plants, what else are we going to look for?
Yeah, so we're looking at different windows of the plant's life now. Well, we talked about the first 20 days, and now this plant is in that middle 20 days. So this is in V15, so that V12 to VT. What's it doing? Putting on the number of potential kernels and length. So the ability and the strength that this plant needs is going to come from nutrients, and the planter box treatments have a couple of opportunities for nutrient use efficiency. Number 1, there's some material in there that helps mineralize phosphorus from organic phosphorus. Also has nitrogen fixing bacteria to help push this plant all the way through to maturity.
So we know what the separation in 3 and 4 days from first day of emergence is for kernel count, but what do we see with these planter box solutions for day 1 and day 2 emergence?
Oh, I think it's outstanding. The treatment shows 15% more plants come up on day 1 and 2. And day 1 and 2 are fairly equal. And there's 10% more plants come up on day 1.